Awesome. So today we're going to be going over the pipeline system. Make sure that you're taking notes because this is going to be super, super, super valuable. Just title it pipeline system at the top. This really helped me because I realized that systems save yourself time, energy, and money. So make sure that you write system down because having systems inside of your business is really going to help you make everything simpler. System, right? So as you are navigating through network marketing, through entrepreneurship, through business, any business in particular, you're going to have a pipeline system. So the first step, let's just get right into it. Number one is going to be lead, right? So you have to start thinking about how you're going to acquire leads specifically, right? So you could do leads through social media, emails, contacts, etc., right? As you're finding emails, as you're finding all of these things, you always want to lead with value, right? Lead with value, right? When you're leading with value, you also want to implement form, right? Do you remember what form is? Sienna?
Ask them where they're from,
Right? Where they're from,
their occupation,
their occupation,
or
recreation,
their recreation.
what do they like, where they're passionate about, and motivation, right? So when you're acquiring leads, you want to keep this in mind because that is going to transition to step number 2, which is contact, right? So you want to have a system for your contacts, right? How are you going to develop a system for your contacts, right? Me personally, I like Calendly. Calendly booking systems, right? Or any kind of booking system, right? One thing while you're contacting, right? It's not plural, it's just contact. It's a verb, right? Contact. So after we have the leads, we contact them, right? You can use Calendly, you can use some sort of booking system, and once you do that, now we're able to use a system called PS3, right? Do you remember what PS3 stands for?
No.
Right? So PS3 stands for piquing interest, show the plan, three-way call. Right? This is a system that we use inside of our network marketing business, right? And this system is what helped me personally organize my contact whenever I'm reaching out to somebody. I always keep PS3 in mind. Okay, I'm calling them. I need to master the PS3. The next thing, as I'm piquing interest, I want to know and realize that I'm going to be inviting them. Right? Right before we invite them, it is so vitally important that we're going through form because we don't want to invite them without getting to know them first. Does that make sense? You see how form transitions into contacting them?
Yes.
Right? I know I can definitely be a lot more effective as far as the layout, But form, I want you just to remember this. If you remember anything, you always want to do form before we go through the invite, right? So obviously you know that the invite has 4 steps, right? That's a separate training. The invite has 4 steps, right? So after we contact, after we invite, that is going to lead to our presentation. Remember, everything is about posture, right? So when you're presenting, I want you to remember posture. Know that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So as you're presenting, you want to make sure that you have posture, and you want to make sure people are valuing your time, right? You want to confirm the presentation, right, before you even give it. How do you confirm the presentation? You confirm by holding them accountable, right? As you can see, before the presentation, we were doing the invite, right? That's the last thing before the presentation. So as you're inviting, you want to give them accountability by telling them, hey, if you're not able to make the meeting, please let me know ahead of time. That plays into posture in the presentation, because now as you're presenting, they are valuing the presentation, right? Because you had that posture as you were inviting them. So that's so key. That's why posture, that's why inviting just transitions right into the presentation, because that's going to dictate how well your presentation goes, right? So as we confirm, when we have posture and as we confirm, we're going to be giving the presentation, and I want you to write down doctor, right? Because in reality, you are a doctor. And what do doctors do? They find the need for their patient, right? So you can't give a presentation if you haven't gone through form first. So that's why this is called the pipeline system, because it is literally a pipeline, right? It's literally a pipeline. I can draw it out for you after, but I hope everything makes sense for step number 3. Is everything making sense so far?
Mm-hmm.
So step number 4 is going to be closing. The system for our close is our 6-step close, which I will help you with on another day, right? But I want you to just get down the system first. 6-step close. So like I said, if you're the doctor, you can't close them on the reason why if you haven't went through form. So that's why it's so key. As you're closing, you're going back to number 1, which is their motivation, right? Their recreation and their occupation. Where they're from, that's almost just like a starter, but what they do, their passion and their motivation, all those 3 tie together with the close, right? So you're almost leveraging their goal, their need with the close, right? So very simple. I don't want to overcomplicate the close. The last and final step is number 5, which is following up. All right, I want you to write down 5 to 6 exposures. Remember, this is a numbers game. So not everyone is going to be like me and you, where we see the presentation and automatically we want to just do it, right? People are going to come into the business and you know, they're going to be a little bit more skeptical because they never seen an opportunity like this. But when you add massive amounts of value and you lead with value, now they're going to understand why this is so valuable, right? So as you're going through 5 to 6 exposures, you always want to lead with value. So whether it be a call, I want you to write this down, whether it be a call, right? Whether it be an event, right? If you just put an arrow next to it, right? I'll write it down with you. Call, event, promo, book, quotes, lesson, right? There's so many different ways you can follow up. It could be, hey, I was just thinking about you. I just came across this book. Hey, I was just thinking about you. I came across this amazing training. Hey, I was just thinking about you. I've been using this planner. It's really been working for me, right? Those are different ways you can follow up. You don't always have to pitch the business by following up, because I want you to remember and write down these little key nuggets. One door will always lead to another. When one door closes, another one opens. When one door closes, another one opens. And this is going to tie into the law of reciprocity. Law of reciprocity. Right? So the law of reciprocity basically states that whatever you give out, so shall return, right? Whatever is given comes back, right? The law of reciprocity. Whatever intention you give out to the world, to the universe, to your higher calling, to whatever it may be, it is going to come back tenfold, either positively or negatively, right? You could also refer to it as the law of sowing and reaping, right? When you give a gem, when you give out value, it's going to come back to you, right? So it may not be specifically from that person, but it may be from a different person, right? So that's why it's so important that you're always going back to number one, leading with value, right? Sharing what this opportunity has not only done for you financially, but how it's been able to elevate your mindset, right? Because people only care about two things. I want you to write this down. People only care about success and happiness, right? And people are driven by pain or pleasure. So if you understand how to play to people's pains or pleasures, now you're able to close them. Now you're able to help them. Does that make sense so far? Ladies and gentlemen, the pipeline system.